This is a Dakota News Now special report.
Thank you for being with us tonight here on Dakota News Now. I'm Brian Allen. We're going to be spending the next half hour with U.S. Senate candidate, current incumbent, Republican Mike Rounds. It is nice to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity just to visit with you.
What went into the decision to try to go for another term in office? Did you have to talk yourself into it? Walk me through that.
You know, I think back to the reason I ran in the first place, which was I really kind of wanted to bring South Dakota to Washington, D.C., and to perhaps fix a few things in Washington, D.C. that I thought common sense coming from South Dakota could do. Job's not done, as most people realize, but now after 11 years, I'm in a position to where I can actually influence more of those decisions in D.C. that impact people back here. Biggest challenge we have here in South Dakota is keeping our young people in our state. Yeah. That means we've got to grow the economy, we've got to be able to provide a really good education, but you want to do it in an environment in which you have stability in the rest of the country, and that means having a strong defense, which I'm very interested in continuing to pursue. But it all comes back down to what is it that we have in South Dakota that we want to bring to Washington, and it means literally common sense and never forgetting where we're from, never forgetting that it focuses on how do we make the next generation want to stay within our state.
Yeah. No shortage of topics to talk about right now in the world. I want to begin here with Iran. Should we have gone in? Looking back, was it the right call?
You know, I indicated that I've been in the Senate now for 11 years. I'm now a member of the Select Committee on Intelligence, so I get an opportunity to see the real information behind the scenes that can't really be talked about publicly.
Right.
Because if too much of it comes out, then they know how we got the information. But our resources are very, very good. I think when the president made the decision to go in, he did it for some of the right reasons, and he did that at a time which was critical. And I think that the end result here is not so much did he do the right thing at the time. I believe he did, because if he would have waited, we probably still would have had to have gone in, but they would have been better prepared, and we would have lost some of our young men and women. So no, he made the right decision when he did, based on the information we have. Yeah. The challenge for us is what are the next steps, and do we have a good plan for finishing this? So I'm hopeful that the president is correct, that they want to find a diplomatic solution. And if that's the case, then we want to have the best, strongest showing we can of support for the president in his efforts. We want to show strong support for these young men and women that are in harm's way in that region. And that's where I think you'll find most members of Congress. But we also want to know behind the scenes, what is the plan? What are the challenges? What can we do to help?
You know, the way it's written out, the president can act unilaterally from a military standpoint for about 60 days. And then it needs some type of congressional check, congressional approval. Technically, if you look at the calendar, we're past 60 days now. Should Congress now be more involved than what they have been over the last 2 months?
You really have two different constitutional directives. And I believe the founding fathers probably did that on purpose. They wanted the president to be the commander-in-chief, and they wanted Congress to be the one that actually authorizes a war. But in the middle of it, it comes down to, does the president as a commander-in-chief have the authority to authorize the use of military force? And I believe that he does. There are limits. Now, the War Powers Resolution, which comes back from the 1970s, was designed to give that interaction between the two branches to be able to say, we're going to debate this, we're going to have this discussion. It's not just simply going to be one way or the other. So what we're having right now is that opportunity to have that discussion within the Senate. I think that's a really good idea, but we're not yet ready to impose the resolution or to start restricting what the president is doing. Most of us feel that the president should have the ability to try to do a diplomatic solution if possible, and we would be taking away from his strength if we were to suddenly impose a war powers demand on him at this time, at a time in which he's trying to get a good diplomatic solution and perhaps stop the hostilities more quickly than if his attempts fail and we end up having to use strong military force to push out the regime.
And we're talking tonight with U.S. Senator Mike Rounds. We're going to take a quick break and then be right back with you on Dakota News Now. And welcome back to Dakota News Now. We're spending some time tonight with United States Senator Mike Rounds. As we sit here right now, where are you on gas prices? I mean, you know, it's kind of following the economic factors given the situation in the Mideast. Is there anything right now that folks in Washington could be doing or should be doing to make that specific situation better?
Yes, absolutely, we could right now. Number one, gas prices are within $1 of where they were Joe Biden was president, so they're coming up. We should never walk away from that fact, and we should never pretend like it doesn't exist. But there are things that we could do right now to make the price of gas go down. Number one, allow E15 across the entire country year-round. If we did that, that would bring down the price of gasoline everywhere. Second of all, with regard to the changeover that we require the petroleum companies to do from winter blend to southern blend, or to winter blend to summer blend, we should eliminate that. And in doing so, that will save money. It's easier. You know, Memorial Day prices go up, and everybody says, well, that's because we're using more gas. That's only one of the reasons. The other reason is it's expensive to transition from a winter blend to a summer blend of fuel. If we allow these petroleum companies to produce just one blend year-round, it would save us money. Combination between the two, some people say as high as 35 to 40 cents per gallon.
Yeah.
I would suspect in the Midwest, we could be closing in close to that because of the availability of E15 very, very quickly. The other piece on that, it'd be a great message to our farmers and ranchers that while they still believe in the president and they want him to succeed, this would be an opportunity for him to send the message back that he gets it and that this would help to keep our corn prices stable and start to move them back up again.
There seems to be a movement right now here in South Dakota, both on the state level, obviously, and with you folks in Washington, to move South Dakota towards being more of a player in the defense industry. How/why is that happening, and what is the importance of it?
No question about it. I serve on the Armed Services Committee. I serve on the Appropriations Committee. I can tell you that we will be spending more money in defense of our country. Some of that money, a lot of it will be spent domestically in the creation of munitions, small arms, ammunition, drones as well, and systems for the drones. We have small startup companies right here in South Dakota right now that are on the cutting edge of that technology. We want them, even if they're small, to be able to do business with the Pentagon, to be able to do business with the different departments. That's moving in the right direction right now. We've introduced a number of them right now to folks in the Pentagon that are actually the purchasers of that.
Yeah.
That's moving in the right direction. The B-21, the stealth bomber coming into Ellsworth Air Force Base, we've got about $1.6 billion in economic development out there right now, or I should say in infrastructure development right now going into that facility just to get ready for the B-21 to come in. We're going to have at least 700 more people coming into Rapid City specifically servicing the B-21. The different defense contractors, matter of fact, I was just at a forum in Rapid City 2 weeks ago in which we had defense contractors coming in, the majors, talking with the subcontractors in the area that want to do business with them. Whether you're talking about the coatings that are on the B-21, whether you're talking about the landing gears, the engines, the weapon systems that are involved in it, and the navigation systems, the stealth coatings that go on the wing, all of them will have work necessary because they're going to have to continue to maintain the B-21. They will have a presence in the Rapid City area. We want them to make contact with those subcontractors and to be able to utilize them as well. Materials and so forth is a big part of what School of Mines does. We want to make that contact with these defense contractors as well. In Sioux Falls, those drone operators, they're here right now. We've got more than that going on in the Sioux Falls region. You've also got with Dakota State University kind of fronting up a lot of our cybersecurity. Our financial services folks need those cybersecurity experts, but so does the United States Department of Defense. We'd like to make it so that those young people can stay here and still kind of help save the world and work with the Pentagon, either as members of the National Guard in the future, or perhaps on a contract basis with the Pentagon. It's the reason why we're putting in these SCIFs, these sensitive compartmented information providing systems, where you can go in and talk securely about some of the classified information and to communicate that with people in Washington, D.C. These are areas in which we can have young people stay in our state, have a great quality of life, but still contribute to the defense of our country.
And we're talking this evening with South Dakota United States Senator Mike Rounds. We'll be back right after this on Dakota News Now. Welcome back to Dakota News Now. We're talking tonight with United States Senator Mike Rounds. We just got done talking about the importance that South Dakota may have in the defense industry. Let's talk about technology for a second. You mentioned Dakota State earlier and what's happening up there. What role does South Dakota have in artificial intelligence, do you think?
AI is here to stay. It's not going away. Our young people will have a role to play in its development. They can either leave our state or they can do it from within our state. Artificial intelligence is going to be directly involved in agriculture, making precision ag easier to handle.
Yeah.
But it's also going to be involved in our national defense priorities as well. We're going to be using it in communications with our space-based systems. We use it in communications with our aircraft. We also use it in an area that a lot of people don't think a lot about, which is healthcare. Artificial intelligence is going to improve the quality of healthcare for every single American family if we do this correctly. China wants to do it as well, but they're doing it in a different way. They're using AI to basically suppress and to observe their own people, a police state. We don't want it developed that way in the United States. We want it developed for the benefit of all people. Quality of life, when we talk about the combination of biomedical research and the delivery of those services through the local hospital organizations and clinic organizations that we've got here within the state. We want to be on the cutting edge. We want our young people to be able to access AI. In order to do that, you have to invest in having the facilities that number one, instruct on it, teach on it, and make it available. South Dakota State University, Dakota State University. Augustana wants to be involved in this, along with the University of South Dakota. All of these different organizations, we want them to work together to use some of the best, artificial intelligence capabilities, but then to apply it, to agentize it into those areas that make a difference. I firmly believe that we are well on our way to curing diabetes. I believe that we are on our way to curing the vast majorities of cancers that afflict mankind, perhaps in the next 5 years. And when we talk about the savings, we've got $39 trillion in national debt.
Yeah.
But a significant amount of that is due to the delivery of health care that we do for our own people, Medicare, Medicaid, and so forth. Let's do a better job of delivering it. Improve the quality of life, improve the delivery of that. AI can do that.
Yeah.
Think about this for a second. What happens if you delay the onset of Parkinson's? What if you delay the onset of Alzheimer's? You improve the quality of life for that entire family. And I want to make sure that that's available, whether you're on Medicare or Medicaid or through private pay. The combination of AI in conjunction with the great healthcare organizations we've got here, it's going to make it happen.
And we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with Senator Mike Rounds on Dakota News Now. And welcome back to Dakota News Now. We're spending some time with South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds tonight. We just got done talking about artificial intelligence and what's happening and what could happen and the importance of all that. How do you reconcile that with what feels like a growing number of people here at home who don't want data centers? Because one would go hand in hand in theory with the other, would it not?
No, you're correct. And look, I understand folks out there will look at it and they say, we've heard some bad things about data centers. Number one, I think the president has some really good ideas with how to avoid some of those problems. First of all, he is telling the data centers, when you go into a community, go in with your own power source. So come in with a plan to provide your own power so you're not making the power in a local region more expensive, but provide a little bit more power than what you need so that you can actually feed some additional power back into their system, actually saving some money for everybody else. Number two, water has been an issue. People say, well, some of these data centers can use a lot of water. I was just with the folks in Washington where we were talking through the EPA about the president's new plan to direct that these data centers should be working at reducing their water consumption by 70% and then reusing that water so that it's in a combined cycle internally. Those are really good ideas, and it's one that I believe the AI community is accepting. But there's another piece to it that we need to do here in South Dakota, and that is telling the AI or the data center owners, go where you are welcome. There are certain communities here that simply are going to say, look, we just don't want to do it. We're happy where we're at. We like our traditions here, and we just as soon not have that 1 block square big building out there, or a building that's got nine buildings on it in a square block. And they're gonna be able to sell themselves to the communities, partly because they're going to be able to talk about their own power resources, their own ability to save water. But the last part on it is they're going to be talking about what it means for the tax base in that area. property taxes on that will be spread among a very expensive piece of equipment or a very expensive structure to begin with. Helps to spread out the cost of taxes on property from not just homes in the area, but back into a new business in the area. The other piece on it is if they do use power from the local region, there is an excise tax that goes on that power, which goes back into your local school district. I think they need to sell that to the communities. Some communities will accept it, some may not, and that's fine. That's the way it should work. Local community decisions like that are the appropriate way to do it.
About a minute left in this segment. Senator, what is what you would call a back burner issue that you personally wish was getting more attention?
There's a couple of them. The one that I think is important, we've kind of hit on already, but it's the development of AI with regard to not just the quality of life here, but how it is integrating in to the rest of our life on ag development, and so forth. Look, ag is our strongest economic program here in South Dakota.
Yeah.
And if we want young people to be able to stay here, they're going to have access to AI in their regular business, or somebody else is going to be more competitive than they are.
Yep.
The second piece on it is we've got to continue to work at quality of life opportunities for young people to stay here. We've got to refocus once again on high quality education being delivered across every single part of our state. We've got to be able to make sure that the infrastructure here within South Dakota can handle the demands of growing young families. That means high quality water, it means infrastructure for good sewer systems, it means good roads, and it means broadband capabilities here every place. So for me, it's a matter of the boring stuff that sometimes doesn't get talked about a lot, but which is critical if we want young people to stay here within our state. And I come back to the same thing. The biggest challenge we have here is keeping our young people here. Let's never forget, we want to make this a higher quality place for them to raise their family and to be able to enjoy relatives, grandmas, grandpas, moms, and dads.
You bet. We'll be right back with Senator Mike Rounds after this on Dakota News Now. Welcome back to Dakota News Now. We're with Senator Mike Rounds tonight. We've covered at length the issues with the Postal Service in South Dakota. Did those issues happen by accident, or was it some type of intentional play by the Postal Service? We can cut corners in a rural area to better serve larger areas.
This is because, in a systematic way, the Postal Service at the federal level screwed up royally. It is an absolute mess. And it's because they thought they knew a better way to deliver postal service across the country. They wanted to go to big servicing regional centers, and they cut out the regional servicing centers in our state. I talked to Mr. DeJoy, who had been the postmaster more than a year and a half ago, sent him a letter. He responded, looked at it, and said, you know what, you're right. And in February of last year, he told me he was going to fix it. In March of last year, he left his job and he didn't fix the problem. Mr. Steiner, who was the new Postmaster General, came in. We visited. I explained to him it was going to get fixed. And he says, I'll fix it. Or he says, let me look at it. And he sent me a real nice letter and said, you guys don't have the problem. It's in Chicago and some other places. So what we've decided is this is not going to get fixed just going to them. So we've got the Inspector Generals in. They're across the state. They're finding out exactly what the problems are. Bottom line is don't get mad at your local postmaster. It's not his fault. We're sending our first-class mail out of state, sometimes 2 and 3 different locations before it comes back into South Dakota. So yeah, they were not treating our rural areas with respect. We're not going to stop. We're going to get it fixed. The Inspector General has been into a number of these locations. We've got whistleblowers from within the Postal Service that are working with us, but we're going to stay on this and we're going to get this repaired again. They actually went so far as to say we're not going to postmark your mail until it gets to a regional processing center, so we've got a better shot of actually getting it delivered from the postal mark date until the time of delivery down to within 3 days. Even with that in place, they can't do it within 7 days in a lot of cases. It's a mess. It's not because of the service provided at the local level. It is because of systemic failure at the national level, and we're going to get it fixed.
Senator Mike Rounds, thank you for being with us tonight.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yep, thank you. And thank you as well for being with us this evening on Dakota News Now.